tomorrow night. A big celebration for Boomer as well. Just what do we expect?
Yeah, I just think it's great for our fans to get out and recognise Boomer's unbelievable contribution to our club, and the players are really looking forward to it too. So I think the AFL community in a whole should look back at his remarkable achievements and get a really good chance to celebrate them.
Bit of debate about retiring his number. What's your take on that?
No, look, I mean we're retiring indefinitely. That doesn't mean permanently, but I think that it's Boomer even mentioned himself. There's a bit of a romantic notion that maybe his son Cooper might one day don the jumper, and he's not too far away from being age eligible. So we might look at keeping it in mothballs until and watch Cooper's progress pretty closely, and that'd be a nice story.
Does that decision come down to a Boomer or the club, or work together on that?
Oh, in terms of the jumper? No. Boomer's more than happy for someone to take the jumper. It's purely a club decision that we'd like to leave it for a little while, because it's a pretty important decision who wears the jumper next.
Not too many opportunities to play on Friday nights in the last couple of years, so something you can really embrace.
Yeah, we've probably been fortunate the last few years in terms of being out there on Friday night. We don't get as many as some other clubs, but on the back of a couple of good finals performances, we did get some good Friday night opportunities, and the players absolutely loved it. So another good chance this Friday night, and it's nice to have a standalone game, and our players are looking forward to it.
You've won your last 6 against the Saints. Can we read anything into that?
No, probably just that we've played in a few final series, 4 out of the last 5, and they've been developing their list. So that probably explains it in a nutshell. But they're a very different proposition this year. I know they've had a challenging last month or so, but the footy they played early in the year was really exciting, and they had a lot of exciting, bold ball movement, and they were a real handful. So we're expecting that version of St Kilda tomorrow night.
When you look at the ladder where you are placed, it sort of seems like a crucial game. Do you feel this is a crucial game for your season?
Yeah, but I think you can ask me that question for the rest of the year, and they'll all be really important. We're one of a whole group of teams that are in a position where you can't rest on your laurels, and every game is going to be really important to the outcome of the season.
What's your take on Todd Goldstein's form?
Yeah, look, he's still you look at all the numbers and how he's travelling. He's not achieving the lofty heights he's set for himself in the past. But he's still going pretty well. He's just not playing to the All-Australian standard that he expects of himself. But I really get the feeling with Goldie that he's right on the edge. He's had some. I thought he was really important for us against Melbourne. I thought he did some really good things for us against Carlton. When Cruz has been in great form. So I think he's right on the edge of a breakout game. So we're more than happy to persist with him.
Is he completely fit?
Yeah, no problems with his fitness whatsoever.
So can you put your finger on why he's probably dropped off?
Yeah, I think with big guys, full stop, whether it's a key forward, key defender, you're only a fraction away from taking a contested mark or dropping it. You're a fraction away as a ruckman to get your hand to it to a really strong hit out to advantage or just missing it. It's just that the line is so thin, and we're really confident with him that the work he's been doing, that his form, when it turns, it'll turn quickly, and it'll turn significantly for the better.
Marking was quite a big aspect of his game when he was in that All-Australian form, and he struggled in that lately. Is that as much a confidence thing than?
Oh, it's a bit more how I reckon we're playing. We play 3 pretty strong key forwards, so we haven't been getting him to push as hard forward as potentially we have in the past, because we want to leave that space open for our other big guys. But yeah, look, he's a versatile player who's obviously very capable of marking the ball, but he's a great running player as well. So we don't look at one part of his game in isolation. It's just the combination, and the combination hasn't added up to his form in the past. But as I said, I believe it's a fraction away from turning really strongly.
I think you said a few weeks ago that you'd like to find a way of playing Brad Bruce as well. Are you still
Yeah, well, he's getting into the perennial emergency sort of bracket. Which tells you where we see him. We think he's good enough to play in our 22. It's just the way the game's being played at the moment. It's near on impossible to. Well, we're searching, but at the moment we can't find a way to get all the big guys in. But we're in a good position as a team that if we need to make a change based on form with any of our tools, that we think we've got able backups. Majak Dor has now turned the corner after some injury troubles, so it won't just be Prusy, it'll be Majak as well that we're trying to get into the side.
Could he overtake Todd as soon as this season, or is that unrealistic?
Well, I think Prusy is going to develop really strongly, and we've only seen a glimpse of what he's going to be capable of. But Goldie at his best is as good as any ruckman in the competition, in my view. So Goldie's got to get back to that, and Prusy's got a long way to bridge the gap to Goldie's best. So we'll just keep working with them. We're in a really fortunate position as a club where we've got both of them on our list.
What's your opinion on the runners debate? You're a big fan of runners, and do you find that they do clog up space?
I'm a big fan of runners when they get the message right, and when they come back off the ground when we're trying to get them off. But they've got a hard gig. I tell you what, we put a GPS on our runner just more out of interest than anything. And our runner runs more than most players, which I think is probably an issue in and of itself. I think that the AFL quite rightly are looking to get people off the ground who are not players, and they've capped the interchange. Perhaps they should look at capping the runners too, capping them both in terms of time out on the ground, but also number of times they can go out onto the ground. And I'm sure for our runner, he'd appreciate that.
I might be wrong. Lindsay eligible, he's cleared to play now. Has he done enough over the long break to put his hand up again?
In a way he has, yeah. He's done a mini pre-season, he's worked really hard, a lot of extra work. We really wanted him to work hard on his fitness, because at his best he's a really good high intensity player, but to play at that intensity for 120 minutes takes a great fitness level, and to be honest, a better fitness level than he had pre the break. But I think he needs a little bit more match fitness before we'll look at bringing him into the senior side. But I think he's going to be a really important player for us in the second half. So the opportunity is going to be there for him to force his way back in, and he's done that through a mini pre-season. But we think he needs some match fitness to prove that he can play at that level, and also that his form warrants coming back into the senior team. So he won't play this week, but he'll certainly be eligible for senior selection next week.
A lot of more media organisations have picked their All-Australian teams, or at least at the midway point. Where do you think Robbie Tarrant stacks up as far as the key defenders in the comp in that argument?
Oh, I'm biased, clearly. I thought Robbie should have been All-Australian last year. He didn't get beaten in any contest last year, which was just a remarkable feat given you look at the quality of some of the key forwards, and he played on all the best. So I thought he was really unlucky last year, and history tells you that if you back a really good season up, just missing All-Australian selection, if you back it up well, you usually get picked the next year. So we're really hopeful, and I think he deserves it.
Does him or Thompson go to Revo tomorrow night?
And Hansen, I think the three of them will look to rotate on him. Nick's we all know his strengths. It's probably better to look at his weaknesses. He doesn't have many, because everyone can see the litany of strengths he's got. So I doubt we'll rely on one player to get the job done there. We'll rotate it a fair bit. And he's really important to them too, because they've got some, Bruce kicked 4 last week, and I know McCartan, they've probably said won't play, but Membry, they've got some versatility there, so it's not just Nick, but we are aware of just how important he is to them.
Given the evenness of the competition this season, does that keep the club driven to aim for a finals berth this year?
I think it just gives us more opportunity, but it's still going to be around that 11-12 win mark, I think. So everyone's going to be striving for that result. But I mean, it's probably more for fans and media to look at the bigger picture. We just have to really stay focused on week to week. And as I said earlier, I suspect I'm going to get the question every week, probably at least for the next month, depending on how we go, that next week's a really important game for us. And you'd be right in saying that.
Did the bye come at a right time to young group to sort of reassess and restock and push on after the bye?
Oh, I think it just came at a right time for us. We thought we were pretty fortunate to get the bye right smack bang in the middle of the season. So 2 weeks ago would have been too early, and next week would have been too late. So no, not due to how we're going, just more because it's the halfway point.
Why do you think North deserves an AFLW team?
Oh, it's a great question, and with tomorrow, I don't know how you came up with that question. But, tomorrow, it's an important game for us. Clearly, we thrive on Friday night footy, and North Melbourne certainly innovated in Friday night footy, and women's footy is something we were a first again. We were the first club in the AFL to affiliate itself with a women's footy team back in 2010 with Melbourne University, and we've laid out an enormous platform for young girls to participate in AFL footy through our huddle. We've got great participation rates in that too. Really 39% of all next generation academy players come from a North Melbourne academy, and that includes girls and women. So North Melbourne's done an enormous amount to try and promote women's footy, and back in 2010 when no one was talking about it, we were doing a fair bit about it. So all that means that we probably deserve one. Doesn't necessarily mean that we will get one, but the club's done a power of work in making sure that we put in a really strong submission, and the AFL can be assured that if we do get a women's team, that we'll do an enormous amount to promote it.
I actually bumped into the AFL Tasmania CEO this morning, and he said there's going to be a really strong Tasmanian component to that. Are you excited about that?
Yeah, well, Tasmania's a massive growth region, not only in men's footy. There's a huge opportunity to develop the game down there. While it's a heartland football state, it has been languishing to a certain extent in recent times, but now 29% of all participation comes from Tassie, and a lot of that's women, but a lot of that's men as well. So North's done a lot of work in recent years to try and develop that, and yeah, a Tasmanian affiliated women's team with North Melbourne I think would be a fantastic result. Great for Tassie, great for women's footy and the AFL in general. Okay. Cheers. Thanks.